Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Pork Belly Pastrami. You might already know this, but you can pretty much pastrami anything you want. I mean, I know we typically do a beef pastrami, brisket. We've done beef short ribs as pastrami. I've even done salmon as pastrami. So why not do one of the most luscious, delicious, juicy, fatty pieces of pork out there, the pork belly. Now, the good news is this is a really simple process, honestly, but the bad news is it takes about a week to get it done. That said, this pork belly pastrami is totally worth the wait. You're gonna be handsomely rewarded for your patience. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into making this brine for our pork belly pastrami. The first thing that we're gonna do is put together our pickling spice, which is kind of a driving force in the flavor of this pastrami. We're starting off by toasting a few of these spices just to waken up all those aromas, get all those juices kind of flowing, the oils coming out. So we're starting with the most hearty of these spices, and that's our Cherry black peppercorns. We're starting to get some heat on here, so now we're gonna start to add some of these others. We've got a tablespoon of mustard seeds and a tablespoon of coriander. Also gonna throw a tablespoon of juniper berries in here. Hot skillet, probably about medium high. We're just gonna keep everything moving so nothing scorches. That's really important. Once they scorch, they get bitter, and we don't want to deal with that. So just keep it moving. Make sure you're using your nose, smelling it. When it becomes aromatic, or if they start popping like that, you can turn your heat down just a little bit, or take it off the heat for a moment. Let some of that residual heat toast the spices. And this shouldn't take long, probably about 60 seconds once you've got everything in here. I can already smell especially that coriander. So let's go ahead and turn off the heat. I'm going to transfer this to a cool skillet now so it stops putting the heat on there. We're just going to kind of smash into these, crack it open, and you get even more aroma out of that now. There we go. All right, so that's good to go. Just gonna throw this into a container that we can store it in. This is gonna give you multiple batches of pastrami, or you can go ahead and use this on your pickles or any other sort of projects you have where you need those sort of aromatics. But to finish it off, we're gonna add a tablespoon of red chili flakes, a tablespoon of whole cloves, a teaspoon of ground mace, which comes from the nutmeg tree. You could replace it with nutmeg, but it's not quite the same. And then a teaspoon of ground ginger. Then I've got a couple of bay leaves. I'm just gonna crunch those up. And finally, our cinnamon stick, we'll smash that. Break that down into smaller pieces. And that right there is your pickling spice. So now we can move on to making the actual brine. We're making 1.5 gallons of brine today, so I'm gonna start with 3 quarts of water, and the other half of that 1.5 gallons is going to be in the form of ice to cool things down very quickly at the end. So I've got about 18 tablespoons here of kosher salt, the Jacobsen kosher sea salt, 3/4 cup of sugar, a tablespoon of Cure pink salt. This is the LEM Cure. You can pick this up at atbbq.com. And then we've got our pickling spice. We're gonna need about 3 tablespoons of that. Try to get a nice little variety of everything that you put in there. And then finally, we're gonna add some garlic. And the garlic just needs to be crushed. Don't even have to peel it. The skins can stay on, that's totally fine. So now we're gonna bring this up to a simmer. So it starts to add all those flavors to the liquid itself. Everything's gonna get real vibrant. So this has come up to a simmer now. Kind of steeped all those flavors into the water. I'm gonna turn off the heat, and we're gonna pour this over some ice to cool it down so we can get the pork in immediately. I've got a little over 6 pounds of ice here. That's roughly what would equate to 3 quarts of water. So we kind of made a really concentrated stock here that we're now gonna water down to its proper consistency. Just a minute of stirring and this should all kind of melt down. It'll be cold enough that it'll be safe to put our pork belly in here right away. This is what we're working with here. We've got a Creekstone Farms Duroc pork belly. This is about a 4-pound slab, skin off. and that's going into our brine. I'm not sure we're gonna have enough room, so that's why the bucket's here if we wanna do a little, there we go. So we're gonna make sure that stays fully submerged for 1 week by locking in the plate here, and we'll throw this in the fridge. Lucky for you, I started one a week ago, and we'll pull that out now. I had a couple of slabs going here, so I doubled up the recipe. One of them's already on the smoker. This one we're gonna prep to go on right now. So there's a lot of salt on the outside of this and penetrated all the way through this, but especially on the outside. So what I wanna do now is I'm gonna take this and rinse it under cool water to get all that extra salt off. Trying to keep this down low so we can keep any cross-contamination splatter contained to the sink. I can sanitize that here shortly. But yeah, just cool water to rinse off the surface. So let's just get all that excess moisture off the surface here. All right, now we're ready to do our seasoning. The seasoning is really simple, just 2 ingredients, plus the binder that we're gonna use to help it attach to the pork. Now, just like we did for our pickling spice, we're gonna toast off some black peppercorns and then some coriander seeds as well. We'll give the black peppercorns just a little bit of a head start here. Again, dry, hot skillet, just trying to open up some of the aromas here. It's starting to get aromatic, kind of fruity, peppery. So now we're gonna throw in our coriander seeds. This should just take another 30 to 60 seconds. Again, just until it kind of starts to smell aromatic. Once you start noticing that smell, you wanna stop before you take it too far and scorch anything. All right, so we're gonna transfer these now to a thin towel where we can cover this back up and crush these down. I don't want them ground, so I don't want to throw them in a spice grinder. I want them nice and chunky, but I want them broken open. We just take the flat side of a mallet and pound it out. Nice. Yeah, get those coriander seeds cracked open. Need to work on some more of those black peppercorns though. All right, I feel good about this. Let's go ahead and get our belly seasoned. The only thing I'm gonna do to this pork belly now is I'm gonna do a little bit of scoring here. This is a pretty optional step. It does help to get some little crevices that your rub and the mustard can kind of work its way into, but it also just kind of looks cool. So now we're gonna hit it with a layer of our Kozlik's Dijon mustard. This is gonna work both as a flavoring agent and as a binder. Once we got a good layer on there, I'm gonna come in here a handful at a time with our coriander and black pepper, just toasted and cracked, which smells incredible. And we'll do the same thing to the flip side. Make sure we got nice coverage. And this is ready to go onto the smoker. Well, today we're cooking on the Yoder Smoker's YS640S pellet grill. It's set to 275 degrees. We're running hickory pellets. And I've got one belly on here that's already ready to come off because we started it real early. But let's take a look inside. We're gonna throw this fresh one on right next to the one that's already nearly finished. Go ahead and stick a probe in there so we can monitor that over the next 4 to 5 hours. And then right here you can see this beautifully smoked piece. It looks a lot smaller. They started about the same size. That's just the shrinkage that we've gotten from the cook. We're aiming for an internal temperature of 185 here, and we're right in that range, so this is about ready to come off. I will mention that to pump up that smoke flavor, we've got our amazing tube smoker in here, burning some hickory pellets as well, just to add and fortify that smoke flavor. We gotta let it rest for a little while. I'm gonna give it about an hour or so in the Cambro hot box just to let those juices redistribute. All right, we're gonna slice this just like it's thick cut bacon, extra thick. Juicy, fatty goodness. Look at that. Fry that up in a skillet with your eggs in the morning. Amazing. This is basically where your bacon meets your pastrami, and I can't think of anything that would be more delicious right now. Look at that. 185 to 190 finishing temperature means it holds together in a slice. It doesn't just shred apart, but it's going to be crazy tender at the same time. Stay tuned because this Friday, I feel a new episode of Will It Taco coming on. All right, here we go. It's so good. Oh, it's crazy tender. It's got enough texture to it that you can chew it, but the fatty bits are just melting in your mouth. Beautiful bit of smoke. Flavors on point. Tastes like pastrami, but eats like pork belly. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Just imagine that on your Reuben now. Some rye bread, you get some sauerkraut and some Swiss. Fantastic sandwich. But you could do lots of stuff with this. I love pastrami with my eggs, bacon and eggs, pastrami and eggs, pork belly pastrami and eggs. Can't go wrong there. I could even see this really great in a taco, which you guys might want to stay tuned for because later this week, I feel a Will It Taco coming on, celebration of St. Patty's. Check it out. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.